Hello, and welcome back to the At Home Educator Podcast. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 15 of the At Home Educator Podcast. Today is, unfortunately, the last episode of the At Home Educator Podcast in season 1. Season 1, guys. There will be more than one season, but today is the last episode in season 1. So season 1 is 15 episodes. I hope you guys have enjoyed. And I am going to be taking a break for the month of June because, like I explained at the end of the last podcast, if you did not listen, as many of you know, I am in a military family. My husband is in the military, and in the military, you move quite a bit. So we are moving once again, and it is a big move. We're moving across the country to the East Coast from the West, and so it's going to be a big one. It's going to take a good amount of time. So in order to make sure that I can keep up with everything and create some good quality stuff for you guys, I will be taking the month of June off, but, and here's the big but. In the month of July, I will be starting a summer series of the At Home Educator Podcast where I will be making episodes 3 times a week. That is on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. They will be shorter, but they will be much more specific. So hopefully they will be things that you guys want to hear about. They will not take up as much of your time. So maybe instead of during the car ride, you could listen to them while you're doing your makeup or writing your feedback, things like that. Just some good ideas. But that summer series will be starting in July, so keep a lookout for that. And during the month of June, I will still try to be pretty active on my social media, on my Facebook, my Instagram, so make sure that you are following me there. There are links in the description of this that you can follow to make sure that you have connected with me. So now that we have gotten that out of the way, we can go ahead and dive into this week's topic, which is my first contract with VIPKid. Yep. So today I will be going through my entire first contract with you guys, breaking down what I've done, how much I've made, what my thoughts are, the pros and cons of working with VIPKid so far, and I will be letting you know whether or not I plan to re-sign for a second contract. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive in. Alright, so if you are new to VIPKid, or if you have just heard a little bit about VIPKid and haven't quite gotten hired yet or started the hiring process, I will let you know how contracts work very quickly. So with VIPKid, you are an independent contractor, which means that you sign a contract with the company to work for them for a certain amount of time. Independent contractors are a little different than traditional jobs because you get to do things like set your own hours, use your own style in the classroom. Like, they cannot dictate exactly what you use for your decorations, exactly the kind of teaching style you use. Of course, they have guidelines. You cannot do certain things, but they aren't as hands-on as like a traditional company that would sign you on would be, like if you were a brick and mortar teacher. And also this means that you do not get benefits, unfortunately. So there are no health care benefits or anything like that through VIPKid. You also are not guaranteed bookings. It's just kind of like whatever you do, you do. VIPKid isn't going to say like, yes, you are for sure going to get 20 bookings your first month or anything like that. So there are some pros and cons to being an independent contractor, but regardless, you are an independent contractor as a worker for VIPKid. So when you are hired to VIPKid, you will sign your first contract. These contracts last about 5 months, and every 5 months you will renew your contract if you want to. Of course, you do not have to sign a new contract. So this is great if you ever decide that you don't want to work for VIPKid anymore. There is no penalty for not signing a new contract besides the fact that you don't work for VIPKid anymore. And it's probably not very easy to get back into working with VIPKid. You'd have to reapply, go through the hiring process again, all that good stuff. But at least you are not locked in for a super long period of time. So as an independent contractor with these 5-month-long contracts, you have some freedom with changing your mind and doing what you want to do. So that's a great thing with VIPKid. So I signed my first contract on November 19th of 2018, and my first contract lasts until May 31st of 2019. So that is my first 5 months as a VIPKid teacher. We are very, very close to the end of my first contract. Not quite there. Today is the 29th when this is happening, and I will be, of course, ending my contract on the 31st. But, we're almost there. So I thought it would be a good time to do a review of it. So let's do an overview of my first contract. You guys know I am a big statistics person, so I will share with you all of the statistics from my first contract. If you did not know, my first contract was a bit of a rough one. It was a rough start. If you have not already, go ahead and go listen to my first 100 days with VIPKid podcast. I will link it in the description. But basically, in my first 100 days, I had 4 teacher no-shows, which is where you just don't show up for class because the first time I did not know that my class is booked, so I did not wake up. And then the second time I got salmonella and was extremely ill and could not teach. So I had a lot of teacher no-shows in the beginning and cancellations, and it was a rough start. But as I said in that podcast, things have looked up. I am fully booked now, and I have a full schedule of classes when I teach. So we went from, started from the bottom, now we're here, right? So that is how my first contract began, but it is ending on a more positive note. So by the time my contract is done, I will have been with VIPKid for 195 days. I will have taught about 150 different students, and I will have taught about 342 classes. So I think this is pretty good. The fact that I've taught only 150 students, but I have 342 classes under my belt shows me that I'm getting repeat students. I'm getting regulars. And I appreciate that because I like being able to log into the classroom and kind of know what to expect, like what level the student is at, what kinds of things they like for rewards and what kinds of things you can extend on, all that good stuff. So I think this is a good thing. I think it shows that I've been building rapport with my students. They keep coming back, and I'm really enjoying teaching them. So I am very happy with that. My bookings didn't really start picking up until the end of March in 2019. So for all of you that are new VIPKid teachers who are thinking, oh my gosh, I've been with VIPKid for a month now. I don't have hardly any bookings. I have like 2 bookings. What is this? Don't worry. It took me about 3 months until I was fully booked. Just keep going, keep opening those slots, and they will book. Do not worry. All right, so that is my overall general statistics for my first contract. In terms of certifications, when I started working for VIPKid, chose to get certified in levels 4 and 5 only. So I did not teach trials. I did not teach the lower level students. I started with levels 4 and 5, and I really, really are enjoying those levels. I taught middle school as a brick and mortar teacher before starting with VIPKid, so I am, just naturally, I think, a little more comfortable with the older level students than I am with the lower level students. In the future, I maybe will kind of dip my toes into the little ones, but for now, I am still sticking with 4 and 5. I have also added level 3. Level 3 is, they're a little younger than level 4 and 5, and they're a little lower in level than the 4 and 5, but they're still in the middle. I don't think that they're too young. They're not the babies. So I'm enjoying teaching them. And I've also gotten some supplementary certifications. I got the VIPKid Free Talk certification, the VIPKid Grammar Beginner certification, and the TOEFL Primary certification. These additional certifications are just kind of like extra classes that parents can sign their students up for. They're not major courses, so they're not covering like major content for VIPKid. It's more so if a parent wants their student to practice something specific, like grammar or conversational skills. The TOEFL primary certification is directly based on the TOEFL test, which is a English language learner test that many students have to take if they want to do something like join a foreign exchange student program or like a summer program for ELL students. So since starting with those level 4 and 5 certifications and then adding these new certifications, I'm really enjoying the way that it has diversified my schedule, kind of switched things up. It does get, I will admit, a little boring just teaching the same lessons over and over and over again because, and if you're already a VIPKid teacher, you know this, it seems like everybody that you teach is learning about the same thing in a week. So if everyone's learning about insects all week, then that's all you're teaching if it's all level 4s or 5s. So it's nice to diversify that schedule. And if you haven't already, I would highly, highly recommend diversifying your schedule. It will help to reduce maybe a feeling of burnout or repetitiveness. It'll help wake you up a little bit, reinvigorate you. Maybe you'll create some new props, some new rewards, and it'll just remotivate you in the classroom. So that is my breakdown of certifications during my first contract. Now, let's talk about money. Right? So money is what people always want to know. Do you really make that much money with VIPKid? How much money do you make with VIPKid? All burning questions, right? So here is a breakdown of my payouts, so what VIPKid paid me during all the months of my first contract. So in November of 2018, I made a whopping $0 because I did not teach any classes in November. In December of 2018, I made $56. In January of 2019, I made $50. In February of 2019, I made $126. Now, those were my first 4 months, and those were the months that I said, were slow, right? So I was still building my bookings. I was not teaching very many classes, maybe like 2 every morning, which is not that much. So those were my slow months. Now, here's where the jump happens. In March of 2019, I made $1,053. In April of 2019, I made $1,301. And in May of 2019, I am projected to make $1,056. So I went from averaging about $50 a month for my first 3 months to averaging now about $1,000 a month for my last 3 months. So as you can see, it was a very slow start, but it has improved tremendously, and my bookings are pretty solid now. I would say all of the slots basically that I open up get booked, and I am still a new VIPKid teacher, right? I just am finishing my first contract. So this is not something that takes a tremendous amount of time to do. This is not something that takes a tremendous amount of finesse to do. And it's doable. So the growth in payment is definitely something that has influenced my decision on whether or not I should re-sign with VIPKid. So in total, in my first 5 months as a teacher with VIPKid, I have made $3,642. That's 5 months, $3,642, almost $4,000. That is pretty good, especially considering my slow start. So I am very proud of what I have done and how I have grown, and hopefully you are experiencing the same growth that I am as well. So those were the statistics of my first contract, the breakdown of what's going on, how things are changing, the numbers. I'm a very big numbers person, but if you're not a numbers person, you're probably thinking, well, Brittany, what are you thinking of working with VIPKid? The numbers can say all they want, but it's not telling me how you're feeling. So now I'm going to share that with you. So there are some positives and some negatives to working with VIPKid. And when I created this podcast, I wanted to create a truthful, honest experience sharing of me working with VIPKid. So here it is. And I'm going to start with the negatives just because it's always best to get the bad news out of the way first. So some of the negatives that I've experienced working with VIPKid is getting up early and staying up late. Like I've said many times before, your schedule gets a little crazy working for VIPKid because we are teaching students that are in China, which are usually, 12, 14 hours different from here in America. So for me, I've been getting up at 4:30 in the morning, and on nights that I teach until midnight. You can open up slots past midnight. People do overnights, which, like I said before, those people are crazy to me. I don't know how they do that. But the hours are very demanding in terms of not getting a lot of sleep. So you start early in the morning, you teach late at night or through the night, and that is definitely a drawback of the job. Another negative that I've experienced is the way that they deduct pay for teacher no-shows. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand teachers' no-shows are terrible, right? You're not doing your job. You're not showing up for class. It makes the VIPKid look bad. It makes you look bad. The student probably doesn't feel very good if their teacher doesn't show up for class. It might hurt their feelings. So I understand that there is a penalty for teacher no-shows. However, in my case, I make $8 per class. That is my base pay rate. And then I usually get paid a $1 incentive for participation. So I basically make $9 per class. Yet, VIPKid charges $10 for a teacher no-show class. So I am getting deducted more money than I would have gotten paid for teaching that class for not showing up. And this is kind of a weird spot for me because I know some people make different amounts of money. So VIPKid has probably averaged it out, and that's why they deduct that much. But I feel like doing it on a case-by-case basis and a person-by-person basis would be a little bit better, because it does not make sense to me that they're deducting more from my pay than I would have even made if I had shown up for that class. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So that is another big negative that I have noticed with VIPKid. And the third negative that I've noticed is the slow start to the bookings with the VIPKid. I've had a few people reach out to me and voice their concern that they're not getting bookings. And I tell them, the experience that I had too. It was a very slow start. It was not like, boom, my schedule was full. It doesn't matter how much experience you have. It doesn't matter how many times you redo your video. It's going to take time to build bookings. Just like anything else, basically when people log on to VIPKid, it's like when you type something into Google. If a new website comes out, that website is not going to be the first search result on Google, even if it has all the right keywords, because people aren't interested in it yet. So the more that you keep grinding, the more that you keep working, the more bookings you will get. So you just have to be consistent with opening time slots. You have to be consistent with teaching students, and not having those teacher no-shows. And your bookings will grow. But the slow start is something that can be very discouraging to new teachers, and it is a drawback of the job, at least at the beginning. So, enough of the negatives. I don't like being negative. It takes a lot out of me, guys. I'd like to be positive. So enough of the negatives. Those are the only 3 negatives that I have found so far. Let's get to the positives of working with VIPKid. So one of the big positives of working with VIPKid is making your own schedule. This is great because, as I'm sure most of you know, working with a job, like a traditional job that's not online, that's not an independent contractor job, you do not necessarily get to pick your own schedule. So you have to work when they need you to work, right? If they need you to work on weekends, you have to work on weekends. If they need you to work at night, you have to work at night. With VIPKid, you get to open up as much or as little time slots as you want. You get to open those time slots up on whatever day works best for you and at whatever time. And for the most part, I've experienced that they will eventually get booked. You will eventually get booked when you want to work. Now, this also means that when you do things like take vacation or, need to go to a doctor's appointment, you don't have to request the day off. If you're a teacher, you don't have to deal with a substitute, making substitute plans, or coming back to like a messy classroom. You just make sure you block that time off on your schedule and you don't open up time slots. It is much simpler than most brick and mortar teacher jobs or most just traditional jobs in general to make your schedule and to block off time on your schedule if you need to. And that is something that I have really, really appreciated, especially being someone who has a child. You never know when they're going to have a doctor's appointment or if they're going to, I don't know, just take some time off or their schedule changes, right? With babies, their schedules change all the time. Maybe they start waking up an hour earlier or an hour later. You can switch your time slots however you need, and that is something that I have really, really appreciated. Speaking of having children, another really big positive is working from home with VIPKid. With VIPKid, you are working all online, all from home. You do not have to go to conferences. They do have awesome conferences. Hashtag I want to go to Journey. They do have awesome conferences, but you're not required to go to them. You don't have to go to professional development. You don't have to go to workshops. Everything is online. Even if you take a workshop, it is online. You can do it from home. And like I mentioned with the time slots, as a person who has a young child, this is something that I wouldn't trade for the world. I get to stay at home with my almost now 1-year-old. It's been almost a year since she was born. I haven't had to work or go to a job for the whole year. I've been able to be home with her every single day. And there's nothing that I would trade for that experience. It is truly special. I am truly so lucky to be able to stay home. And if you're also someone who has children, it's a great opportunity for you to be able to stay home with them as well. So that is a huge, huge positive to this job. I mean, even if you have animals like cats or dogs, you get to stay home with them, right? Or even if you don't have anything, you get to stay home. That's awesome. You finish teaching at 10 in the morning and then you have your whole day. And then maybe you want to teach at night. You have the whole day for you and you're at home. You don't have to go to a job. You don't even have to put on like real pants. You can wear pajama pants to work. So it's a great, great positive to working for VIPKid. Now, the last positive to working for VIPKid is something that I really didn't think about when I started this job. When you're first interested in VIPKid, you obviously think like, oh, it's great, I can make my own schedule. Oh, it's great, I can work from home, right? Those are givens. But I never thought about how amazing it is that I get the opportunity to meet these children every day from the comfort of my home who are in China. It has been so interesting to me to be able to interact with these children who have such a different culture than we do. China is geographically and culturally so far away from the United States that most people don't really get to experience anything about it, right? We see China on the news. Everything is super politicized, things like that. But with this job with VIPKid, you are meeting these children in China who have interests that might be the same as you or your children, who have parents who might remind you of yourself, right? We've all taught those classes where there are parents from the other room yelling answers because they want to do the best for their child, right? And it kind of reminds you that we're not so different. And in some ways we are different, and that's fascinating. It's so wonderful to be able to see how these children view the world. One of my favorite units that you get to teach in level 5 is the folktale unit, where the students learn about American folktales. And it's so interesting to hear their interpretations of the morals of the story and hear them compare it to their own experiences in China or with Chinese folktales. It's just a wonderful opportunity that I have had to meet these students and to learn about their culture and to, visit the other side of the world every morning without leaving my house. It's just amazing. And partially it's technology to thank, but partially it's VIPKid. Cindy Me, the founder of VIPKid, has come up with this way that we as Americans can share this great cultural and learning experience with these Chinese kids. And it's just something that I didn't even think I would appreciate that much when I first started this job. And it's something that I do appreciate so much, and it's been so fun. So those are the positives of working with VIPKid. So that brings me to the golden question: will I be re-signing with VIPKid? And if you haven't already guessed it, the answer is yes, I will. In fact, I already have. So I have signed my second contract with VIPKid, which is great for you all because that means I will definitely keep doing these podcasts for you if you are enjoying them, which I hope you are. And so my new contract will last from June 1st to November 30th. I really am looking forward to a fresh start. You know, like I said, my first contract started out a little rocky with not the greatest start, lots of teacher no-shows, which I hate because that looks terrible on me. So this new contract will be a fresh start for me. None of your teacher no-shows roll over, so you get 6 new teacher no-shows, which hopefully I don't have to use any of them, or I don't use any of them. And I also have confidence that my pay will be more consistent, right? So at the beginning of my first contract, I was making about $50 a month, and by the end now I'm making about $1,000 a month. I have confidence that I can grow that to an average of about $1,300 a month, which will double my income that I made from my first contract to my second contract, which will be great. And, you know, VIPKid just really, the lifestyle works for me. Well, it works for my lifestyle. I get to stay home with my daughter. We're going into her second year of life. Oh, that is hard to say. It doesn't feel like it's been that long, but she turns 1 in June, so it'll be her second year of life that we're going into. And VIPKid has given me the opportunity to stay home with her, which I am so grateful for. I get to keep meeting these awesome kids in China, growing rapport with them, learning so much more about their culture, about how we are different, how we are the same. And, you know, it really works for me being in the military because we move a lot. So, like I said, I am moving now from the west to the east, and I will have to take probably most of the month of June off from teaching, but that's the beauty of VIPKid. It doesn't matter. I can open or close slots whenever I can, and it's not going to affect me tremendously. So it just works for my lifestyle and, you know, how things are going now. So that is it. That is the conclusion. I will be re-signing with VIPKid. I hope that this helped you in some way. I am not sharing to discourage or to brag at all about how much I've made or, you know, the kinds of students I've taught. I am sharing this to hopefully inspire you and motivate you. If you have not started with VIPKid, if you have not been hired with VIPKid, and you've been thinking about it, I would highly recommend that you just go for it, right? I mean, your contract is only 5 months. 5 months of your life, you don't even have to open up any time slots if you don't want to. But honestly, the benefits are so much more than the disadvantages that it is 100% worth it, even if you are unsure about it. Just try it out. And if you are a VIPKid teacher already and you've just started your first contract, maybe this will give you hope that you will grow, you will get more bookings, you will make more money, and you can complete your goals by your second contract. I know that you can. Do not get discouraged by those low bookings now if you're having them. Do not get discouraged by low pay. It will happen for you. I promise it will. There are lots of Chinese kids out there that want to learn English, and VIPKid is doing its job and getting more kids to continue to join VIPKid, putting your information out there because they know that you're a great teacher. That's why they hired you, and they're working hard to get those bookings filled for you. So if you are not a VIPKid teacher, take the leap. I promise you it'll be worth it. If you are a VIPKid teacher and you're new, keep grinding. Keep grinding. It will happen for you. And if you're a veteran VIPKid teacher, maybe it was different than your experience. And in that case, I'd love to hear about it. So make sure that you reach out to me through any of my social media platforms. I am on Instagram. I am on Facebook. I also have my email address in the description, as well as my website. You can reach out to me through there, and I would love to hear from you. Share your story of your first contract with me. Share your story of your 5th contract with me. What did you experience at your beginning? I know a lot of you out there have more experience than I do even, and I'd love to hear from you and hear about how your journey has been. Also, do not forget that I will be starting the summer series in July. So like I said at the beginning of this podcast, those will come out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday in July. And they will be shorter and more specific to things that you guys want to hear. So I need to hear from you about what you want to hear. So make sure that you reach out to me. Let me know what you want to hear about. And so this will be the last time I will be signing off in season 1 of the At Home Educator Podcast. I am so grateful that you guys have been listening. I am so happy that hopefully at least some of you have learned something, have been inspired, have enjoyed these podcasts. I enjoy making them, and I cannot wait to be moved in to my new house, first of all, get done with moving, because I hate moving, and also to be back to help you in July. If you have not already, go ahead and check out my older podcasts while I am gone. They will help you, hopefully, and they will take up some time. It'll make the wait seem less long. And let me know, like I said, about what you want to hear in the summer series. So, until July, remember to play often, teach regularly, and live your best life. I will see you guys in about a month. Wish me luck. Bye.